Brando denied his son Miko had witnessed anything between Jackson and children. If Miko had known anything, and if Michael had done anything that I knew for a fact that he was taking advantage of kids, I'd have laid it on him. But Brando was troubled anyway. He'd seen Jackson's public statement in response to the initial allegations and police search of his property, and it struck Brando as odd. Reflecting later, after the settlement with Chandler, Brando found Jackson's protestations of innocence even harder to believe. I saw him on the television. Just from the way he was talking, I thought, what is he covering up? Because he came out, and he said this, and that, and the other thing, but he was saying it in such a funny way that I believe that. And then he went and settled with if that's true, he gave $20 million or something, 15? According to the transcript of the interview, which was taken under oath, under penalty of perjury, Brando said that he went up to Neverland Ranch to have dinner with Jackson and then provided a long acting session. And we were talking about human emotions and where it all comes from, Brando said. I could see from the way he behaved, he talked like that, and he speaks in a very peculiar way for a man who is as old as my eldest son, 35. And he didn't want me to swear. He referred to it as the F word. I said, you mean fuck? Brando said he asked Jackson if he had ever had a woman. I had asked him if he was a virgin, and he sort of laughed and giggled, and he called me Brando. He said, oh, Brando. Brando went on. I said, well, what do you do for sex? And he was acting fussy and embarrassed. I said, do you jerk off? He lives in a completely separate world. Everybody around him plays the Michael game. Michael says, he says, this and that. Brando said in his acting session with Jackson, he asked him about his family because he wanted to see what his background was. I've always been interested in people and human motivations, why people do things they do, Brando told the prosecutors. I didn't want to talk to a cardboard cutout that you dangle on a string. This came out, I think, out of a discussion about acting, and he didn't hold real emotions. Pressed by the renowned actor, Jackson broke down. He said he hated his father and started to cry. So I pulled back, Brando said. I started to tiptoe. I realized that he was in trouble with his life because he was living in a Neverland and he couldn't say fuck. And for a 35-year-old man not to do that, being around people in show business, seemed very odd. And I said, well, who are your friends? He said, I don't know anybody my own age. I don't like anybody my own age. I said, why not? He said, I don't know. Having pushed Jackson to tears, Brando now tried to comfort him. And he was crying hard enough that I didn't think that it was smart of me I tried to assuage him. I tried to help him all I could, Brando said. I've got 11 kids of my own. I actually thought he was homosexual, that he might be homosexual, Brando said. Now at this juncture in time, Brando said, no doubt referring to the Jordan Chandler scandal, with this mode of behavior that's been going on, I think it's pretty reasonable to conclude that he may have had something to do with kids. This strange conversation between two of the world's best-known entertainers, both of them odd men, continued for a while. Jackson crying, Brando continuing to probe. Under questioning from the prosecutors, Brando said he thought there was something really wrong when Jackson flinched at the word promise. Brando said the word promise would frighten and upset Michael Jackson. Jackson never came out and said he was a homosexual, Brando said, nor did he openly acknowledge sexual relations with boys. But Brando wanted to know about Jackson's sex life, particularly if he had sex with children, and Jackson seemed shaken by Brando's questions, not answering them and continuing to cry. Deputy District Attorney Lauren Weiss pressed Brando. And when he didn't answer you, did you come away with an impression? She asked. Yeah, Brando answered. I did. What was your impression? Weiss asked. Brando responded, my impression was that he didn't want to answer because he was frightened to answer me. Telephone Stories is presented by Luminary Media and Ninth Planet Audio. It's written and produced by me, Brandon Ochborn, and produced by Omar Crook. Our show is edited and mixed by Ross Morgan. Our story editor is Jim Newton, with research and fact-checking by Nona Yates.